Is there something different happening in your conversation? Do you think the federal government will actually implement anything that you're proposing?
Got a fun one for you here today. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today we got a press conference. Justin Trudeau is talking about school food programs. We got a bunch of different reporters here. One of them is from a Punjab TV station who absolutely scolds Justin Trudeau. Her question ends up being an opportunity for her to basically humiliate Justin Trudeau. She goes on and on and on. It's hilarious. They ask him a bunch of other questions here. I'll minimize the amount of response time from Justin Trudeau because I know we all don't like to listen to him. We've also got Justin Trudeau caught admiring himself in the grocery store. Let's jump into this. To lighten things up, we've got this video going around. It's hilarious. Post on Justin Trudeau's ego. It says, during my grocery store photo op yesterday, I found myself in a room with no mirrors. So I used my phone's front camera to admire how handsome I am. Watch as I check myself out from multiple angles and smirk like an absolute malignant narcissist. The caption that guy writes is hilarious. Look at this guy. What is he doing? Oh, I look so good. Oh, he's such a loser. This guy's a buffoon. There's another clip here where some stumbling juice gets spilled all over the floor. It says, today I was touring a grocery store for my photo ops. I knocked over a case of stumbling juice. Obviously, I just walked away. I would never be caught dead cleaning up something I spilled because the taxpayers pay my servants to do that for me.
Great to meet you. Oh, God. What happened? No, you was on the edge. Nice. You spilled beer.
So the odds are Trudeau didn't spill that. It's too far for him to spill that. But regardless, just look how Trudeau deals with this.
You spilled beer.
Yeah, he just takes off. That's Justin Trudeau there, folks. Just takes off, no responsibility, doesn't want to help out, doesn't care. He probably doesn't know how to clean up stuff.
Sorry, sir. Am I able to go that way? Are you part of the kids? Like, not exactly, but no, so stay here for now.
It was Harper's fault. I'm surprised he didn't say that. As with your political career, expect others to clean up your messes. No consideration for others takes no responsibility. You know, if he wanted to be a leader, he should have stepped up and just picked that back up, start cleaning up, and just show he can roll up his sleeves and actually do something. Not just like, oh, servants, get to work, clean that up, oh. So next up, we got Captain Schmuck here. He's at this Healthy Meals for Kids press conference in Ontario.
For 2 months starting in mid-December, there'll be no GST on groceries. That's going to make a huge difference for family affordability.
So just notice he said that. The quality on this video is actually quite bad. It's the original source that's bad. But he said he's almost promising that this is going through. This has not even gone through the House. The government, the leaders, they're trying to figure out if this is even possible because everything is stopped in the House. The Bloc leader said yesterday he has no idea how this would even be possible. Jagmeet seems to think there's a way to pause the stoppage in Parliament to do a one-day deal here. Trudeau's laying this out like it's already set in stone. And if the parties don't go along with it, then they're bad. They're going against Canadians for affordability measures. So jumping ahead, we've got questions here, and I'll limit his response.
Yesterday's GST holiday, but they are also warning that it will create administrative headaches and confusion for smaller retailers. They are saying that a permanent tax relief would be far more ideal. So why not just do that, do what the NDP has called for, and permanently remove the GST on these items, and then maybe even go further and extend the GST cut to cell phone and internet bills and also home heating?
We know families are squeezed and they need a break right now, and that's why we're moving forward with a tax break that'll take the GST off of groceries, off of everyday items like kids' clothes and shoes, like visits to restaurant, takeout.
Everyday items. Eating at restaurants is not everyday item. Neither is buying video games. You'll save money on that. Why aren't they cutting the GST off of home heating? That is an everyday item. That affects everyone. Not to mention that stupid carbon tax is charged on the GST on home heating. Why don't they take off gasoline? If they really wanted to help Canadians, all Canadians, including seniors who are barely scraping by and struggling to survive, they would cut the GST off of home heating and gas at the pump. Or better yet, just cut the carbon tax, or both.
Of items that are going to make a huge difference for families that are facing higher costs.
So jumping ahead further, we have another question here.
Well, for 2 months, your government has been unable to pass legislation. Have you given up on the House? What are you willing to do to end the logjam?
Well, it is really important for Canadians to understand that parliamentarians were elected to support people across the country, to make the investments, to make the create the programs that are there to help.
It's important for Canadians to understand, or how about it's important for you to understand? He doesn't seem to understand that.
Help Canadians at times of difficulty. And the fact that the Conservatives have totally frozen the way the House is working, totally bogged down, preventing us from being able to actually pass legislation that is there to support Canadians, sort of proves the point I was making earlier, that federal Conservatives care only about showing the problems people are facing and amplifying those, but not actually providing any help for Canadians.
So first off, the job of the official opposition is to point out what's going wrong in the government. So they are doing their job in doing that, but they have already offered many solutions that which you refuse to take, Justin Trudeau. This is just a classic case of poopy pants, silver spoon Justin Trudeau standing up here with his arms crossed like, I'm not the problem, it's everyone else. Pierre Poilievre, it's the Conservatives, I've done nothing wrong. My daddy said I was always right growing up. Wah, 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 sucking his thumb. We have quite literally the biggest loser for our Prime Minister.
They want to illustrate that Canada is broken by breaking it for Canadians, by preventing us to solve the challenges people are facing.
Wow, what a statement. The guy who destroyed Canada, now blaming the Conservatives, the party not in power, for breaking Canada.
So we're going to stay focused on delivering these things, but I will...
How about you deliver yourself to the local prison? Do us all a favor. And finally, we got one last question here. This is the doozy of them all. We've got a Punjab reporter here who takes this opportunity just to scold Trudeau for quite some time. It's a beautiful thing.
Pleasant afternoon. This is Hamreen Kaur from Punjab TV. The recent announcement that was made on GST and HST has brought smile to the faces of the Canadians. However, there are decades and decades of long studies and researches that have shown that when a short-term tax redemption or reduction is done to any of the economy, it does not help economy to a very large scale. You know, it doesn't boom up the economy much. It is getting really hard for the Canadians to keep food on the table. The grocery prices are rising up like anything.
You notice here, he starts fidgeting. He's sliding up his sleeve here. He's like wiping his nose. He's really uncomfortable with this question. I mean, he lost eye contact with her. He's looking down. He's grabbed both sides of the podium. This is usually his power pose when he's feeling stressed.
Healthy meals for kids is a great initiative, no doubt. But we all know it all starts with the family. So when the families are not able to afford and keep food on the table, they are angered, they are frustrated, they are agitated, and somewhere we know it is all going to affect on the mental health of the kids as well. So even if the school is providing such great meals for the kids, but then if the family is not in that situation, obviously it helps to hamper the growth and development of a child. So what's your plan on that?
Sorry, which part of what you were asking about is the question? What's your question?
So I mean to say that even though you have made healthy meals for the kids, this great initiative, however, what plan do you do what does your government plan to do for the families so that they can afford good meals, because the grocery prices are also going up?
Well, the most important thing that we needed to do to help families is bring down inflation. And we were able to do that. We brought down inflation, and we're seeing interest rates come down as well, which is making a huge difference.
No, it's actually going back up. If you look at the numbers, it is going back up. Once again, Trudeau lying.
For people and for families. That's why we're continuing to deliver the measures that are supporting people, whether it's childcare, whether it's dental care, whether it's investments in this school food program.
So I don't have kids. I haven't been to a dentist in 9 years. How do those programs help me? And I know there's millions other Canadians just like me. And even if you're a parent, you're one of those people emailing me telling me how you can't get into one of those $10 a day child care programs, and it's frustrating, and you're paying for one of the few other people who win the lottery who get to go into those programs, but you can't get in one yourself. And the waiting list is so long that your kid won't need those services by the time you get in. Unless you're 94 years old and have 3 teeth left and you go to the dentist to get them cleaned, you're not getting much help from this guy.
And I take a little bit of issue with what you said about what the economy needs. What the economy needs is for people to be able to afford their groceries.
Is that right? Really, Justin? I didn't know.
Economy needs is people to be able to be optimistic about the future we're building with good jobs, good opportunities for their kids.
Oh, okay. Does that involve like putting a cap on oil and gas to further destroy our economy? Is that optimistic future we're looking forward?
We're focused on Canadians. I'll let the bankers worry about the economy.
Wait. I'm sorry. You'll let the bankers worry about the economy? The prime minister of a major country just said that. He'll let the bankers worry about the economy, folks. This guy is a complete joke. Put on the clown suit, get in the circus.
Focused on building opportunities for kids in a fundamental way.
How are you building opportunities when kids can't get jobs? You brought in millions of people from another country that are taking all those jobs, and those people are living in poverty, just trying to survive, looking for a better life. You've taken advantage of the people of India, and you've screwed over the young Canadians of Canada. Congratulations, Justin Trudeau. You screw over everyone.
Being there to support families, because an economy works when families are confident about the future. That's
I thought you were leaving it to the bankers.
why we continue to grow the economy from the bottom up, from the middle out, while Pierre Poilievre talks about cutting supports for families, cutting the investments in the future that Canadians are going to be relying on.
Let's talk about cutting there for a second. So I saw this on X the other day, and this is the leader of Argentina. And once he got in there, he just started cutting everything. All these stupid departments and stuff, just cut them all. And essentially, that's what we're going to see here in America as Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are now in charge of doing that for America. You can see the inflation rate here, December 2023, when he got in 25.5%. And as it's gone down, now it's 2.7%. What the man has done here is absolutely turn this country around. It's quite the opposite of what Justin Trudeau is doing in Canada. Trudeau's doing the exact opposite here, spending money on tons of things that don't help the country, don't help us, including spending our money in other countries around the world. Let's bring up one for fun. So here we are back on our portal of Trudeau's Wasteful Spending. If you guys have a good name for this segment, let me know in the comments down below. Today we're jumping over to page 7. Let's just pick something random. We got $24 million. Trudeau spent $24 million of our tax dollars on, drum roll, this project aims to improve sexual and reproductive health, outcomes, and realizations of rights among different population groups with the district SHR needs in Bangladesh. We definitely have to focus on that in Bangladesh. That makes so much sense. It's funny because I can quite literally pick any one of these and they're stupid. All of them are stupid. Let's do one more. Let's go over to page 11. We've got $20 million. Oh, the Asian Infrastructure Bank. I bet this is going to be good. $20 million spent on the Asian Pacific Project Preparation Facility is a USD 73 million multi-donor facility managed by Asian Development Bank Office, blah, blah, blah. Prioritizes technical assistance requests to contribute to climate resilient, sustainable development and regional economic money laundering. So that's what we've got here. Another $20 million just flushed right out down the toilet. We got one more here in Argentina. You can see here, this is the global equity returns this year. So you want to be at the top of this list, not the bottom. You don't want to be Mexico, Brazil, South Korea, or Chile. And who's at the top? Argentina, 46%. You can see US at 27%. Where's Canada? Oh, we're dropping fast here now, 15%. With Justin Trudeau wanting to give some Canadians $250. We've got this throwback clip here of Jagmeet Singh on Vasi Cabello's show here on the CBC, which used to do Power and Politics. Check out what he's got to say.
Inflation continues to rise, so we need to help people now. We've proposed a real clear plan to do that, giving families as much as $1,000.
Any public reception to that? Like, is there something different happening in your conversation? Do you think the federal government will actually implement anything that you're proposing?
I think the federal government needs to. I think.
But are they? Like, are they showing? And I'm asking genuinely because I think Canadians watching, feel like you exchanged your support for something, and they're not necessarily seeing the benefits of it. Yes, they'll get dental care. Yes, they might get that stipend for rent. But beyond that, what can you really tell them?
We can continue to push this government to do more. And we know that our support on helping pass bills is not something that they can take for granted if they're not going to deliver the help that Canadians need, and if they're not going to follow through on the commitments they've made to us. So first off, we want to see them follow through on what they promised to deliver, but we also know that Canadians need more help now. And if Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government refuse to give people the help they need now, when people are hurting, that is the fault of the Liberals. We're demanding.
Is that a
action.
line for you? And I know you guys hate that red line question, but I'm very genuinely curious. Like, do you tell the Prime Minister, if you can't help people with this cost of living crisis, you don't have my support anymore?
Well, we have levers, and we're going to use those levers to make sure we get help to people. We've laid out what we want to see happen, and now the ball's in the Liberals government's court. We've laid out clear plans that we would suggest that the government take right now to send money to people the way we did in the past. The GST tax credit is a tool that works. It'll get money to people. We want to get up to $1,000 to people right now. We know that working families need that help. That's direct money in their pockets. It's not
$1,000, folks. This is 2 years ago. This man has done nothing. He's done absolutely nothing but false promises and fake hope. So next up here, we got this interview with Pierre Poilievre on CP24. She seems kind of hostile. I don't know if she's getting orders to ask questions like this or if this is just kind of journalistic kind of approach to always play the bad guy or whatever. But her first question is about Justin Trudeau's proposed temporary 2-month tax relief.
My first question for you, will you be voting against this?
Well, we're going to read over the bill when it comes forward. What we know so far is that it's a tiny 2-month tax trick to distract from Trudeau's plan to quadruple the carbon tax on heat and housing, food and fuel. That will cost thousands of dollars to every single family and will be a permanent tax hike if he's reelected. So a 2-month temporary tax trick will not compensate for a 61 cent a liter carbon tax. It's interesting, this whole gimmick comes to an end in February. What happens in April? Well, Trudeau's carbon tax goes up another 20%, and that will raise the cost of gas, heat, and then indirectly everything that comes in a truck. If you got it, a truck brought it. And when you jack up the tax on the fuel those truckers put in their vehicles, you jack up food, heat, clothing, everything you buy. So my plan is, let's axe the carbon tax permanently to bring home affordable prices for Canadians.
What's interesting, too, is at that point, April, Jagmeet will have his pension. It then gives him the opportunity to maybe call an election, break out, and say, no, it's time. I got to do what's right for Canadians. Do his whole posturing thing when I'm prime minister. He'll be able to lean on the very few things that Trudeau keeps saying he's done for Canadians, as really those are Jagmeet's initiatives, the dental plan, pharmacare. So what's Trudeau left with? $10 a day childcare? National school food program? These are his grand initiatives to save Canada. Jagmeet's going to steal a couple of those for his own talking points. He's going to be one to try to push to have an election. It may work to sway some of the voters. You might get a few percentage points, maybe even 5% that swings over to the NDP. But it's most likely the Bloc will then slide in as the official opposition when they both get crushed.
To be clear here, will you vote against the measure, though, if it's brought in the House of Commons? Is that a yes or a no?
We'll decide. Our caucus meets next Wednesday, and we'll pick up the piece of legislation, read it over, and decide what's best for Canadians. We know that we have a better plan, which is to axe the carbon tax. Also, take GST off new homes under $1 million permanently. Save you $50,000 on a new home. We're going to push the provinces to do that as well. Take the PST, or the provincial sales tax. That would save over $100,000 on a new home. That's the kind of conservative tax cut that will be permanent when I'm prime minister.
You've just told me all the ways that you support giving Canadians a tax break and making life more affordable. That's what you say you're all about. You're all about axing the carbon tax. So why won't you say whether you support this tax break for Canadians?
Well, because I haven't read the bill yet. So you had to know. What you've read is a press release. And I don't vote for press releases. I don't vote for Justin Trudeau's press conferences. And what we know is that you can't believe anything Trudeau says about taxes. Remember, he said you'd be better off with the carbon tax. And then his parliamentary budget officer came out and said that every single middle-class family will pay more in the tax than they get back in rebates. Remember, he said he'd help the middle class, and now middle-class people are lined up at food banks and housing costs have doubled. So it's not enough for me to believe what he says. I have to know what's in the actual bill. And when I do, I'll make a decision and do the right thing.
I wonder what message you're sending to Canadians, Mr. Poilievre, when you say you're all about axing the tax, you're all about bringing taxes down, making life more affordable, and in the same breath you say you're not sure you're going to support a tax break for Canadians at a time when they're struggling so badly.
What?
This is an interesting comment here. This is a man who doesn't jump to conclusions, doesn't take people at their word, especially politicians like Justin Trudeau. Makes informed decisions based on all the information, not just promising to cut it and then find out in the bill they've slipped in some nefarious, nasty thing in there like they always do. We'll cut taxes for Canadians only if we can push back the election 1 week so all these corrupt ministers behind me get their pensions. They always do it, and that's why Poilievre's not going to say, yeah, he's not stupid. He's not going to put blind faith in Justin Trudeau to do anything right.
Why are they struggling so badly? It's been 9 years that Trudeau's promised to make them better off. And here we are. You're right. They are struggling so badly. And I think your own words are a condemnation of his track record, with food prices rising 37% faster in Canada than they have in the United States, just as the carbon tax came in. Housing costs doubled. Here we are in Toronto, where you have to earn well over $200,000 to afford a home. That was never the case before Justin Trudeau ran money printing and immigration out of control, before he built up all these bureaucracies that block home building. Clearly, Canadians are struggling. Justin Trudeau is the problem. He's not the solution. What we need is a common sense plan for permanent tax cuts. Axe the carbon tax, axe the GST on new homes, and slash the bureaucracy and waste to bring down deficits, interest rates, and inflation.
Okay.
Exactly what they've done in Argentina. There's never been a truer thing ever said. Justin Trudeau is the problem, not the solution.
I'm going to move on now. I want to take a look at some international issues. You have vowed to fight Donald Trump against his protectionist policies. You've talked about fighting fire with fire. That's a bold statement. What do you mean when you say that?
Well, exactly what I said. We can't let our country get trampled on again by Trump the way it did under Trudeau. And President Trump would obviously love to keep Trudeau in office because he can walk all over him. And that's what he did last time. He forced Trudeau to sign a bad deal that kept in place tariffs on softwood lumber, that kept in place Buy America, shutting out our construction companies from American infrastructure projects. And we've lost $500 billion Canadian investment dollars to the U.S. under Trudeau. That's Canadian money building American businesses and paying American wages. Enough. I want to bring that money home. So I will, first of all, I'll be cutting taxes on work, investment, energy, and making stuff in Canada so we can bring home production and paychecks to this country. In the next round of NAFTA negotiations, I'll fight for an end to the softwood lumber tariffs that Trudeau has allowed the Americans to reimpose on Canada after the earlier Conservative government got them lifted.
Would it be a tit-for-tat situation, though? Does this mean...
Well, you have to, if the Americans hit us with unfair tariffs, then you have to hit back, of course. I mean, we've seen how Justin Trudeau being a pushover has resulted in us losing so many jobs and opportunities to America. You know, when Trudeau took office, median income in Canada was the same as in the United States. Today, 9 years later, per capita GDP, that's per person income, is $22,000 higher in the U.S. than it is over here in Canada. Our workers get 55 cents of investment for every dollar of investment south of the border. It's clear why President Trump wants to create jobs, takes jobs from Canada for Americans. It's not clear why Justin Trudeau wants to help him. We need a strong Canadian Prime Minister with the brains and backbone to fight for our country and put our people first.
Okay. I want to turn to the situation in the Middle East. As you know, the International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his former defense minister, Hamas officials. The Prime Minister was asked about this yesterday. He said he would abide by international law. What is your response, Mr. Poilievre?
I think it's just another example about how radical and wildly woke our prime minister has become, that he's now disagreed with President Biden on this and said that he would arrest the democratically elected leader of a liberal democracy. He hasn't ever said he would arrest the Ayatollah of Iran, whose government wants to fire nuclear missiles at both Israel and the United States, that has carried out genocide against people in Syria. He seems to have no problem with any of that. He cozies up with dictators and terrorists around the world, but yet he wants to lock up the leaders of democratically elected countries. It's no wonder that Justin Trudeau is seen as a joke on the world stage. We need a leader who stands by our liberal democratic friends around the world against terrorists and tyrants, and that's the kind of leader I will be.
Okay, Mr. Pierre Poilievre.
There you have it. Pierre Poilievre sticking the boots to Trudeau there. Just, you know, he's a woke loser leader. Trudeau has a bigger agenda here that he's been carrying out. It's just not in favor of Canadians. It's quite obvious now. It's all money and power for Justin Trudeau. Integrity is not something Justin Trudeau's got a lot of. Captain Schmuck never answers a question. He's caught admiring himself in the grocery store. We've got Poilievre continually embarrassing him on national TV. Meanwhile, we got Jagmeet trying to toe the line to get himself that pension, but not lose his seat. Get your popcorn, folks, because this show isn't over yet.